Hello there. Welcome once again to That's English.
Yes, hello.
Oh, Ashley, why are you dressed like that?
I'm going to a fancy dress party after the show.
And you are...
Count Dracula.
Oh, of course.
Did you know that Dracula really existed? He was a 14th century count.
Well, there's often some truth in myths and legends. For example, many people believe that Robin Hood and King Arthur really existed.
When I was a child, I loved reading all the Greek legends. They were so dramatic, full of monsters and murders.
Well, today's documentary is about a monstrous murderer, Jack the Ripper.
He certainly wasn't a myth. He really existed.
But the police never caught him. Of course, forensic detection, investigación forense, wasn't very advanced in the 19th century.
And there was no fingerprinting.
So, while you're watching our documentary, see if you can answer this question. What were the rumours about Jack the Ripper's identity?
I'm looking forward to this.
This could be any street in Whitechapel, in the East End of London. People go about their business, and most of them know nothing about its history. Would they be surprised to find out it was the scene of one of the most violent murders ever committed in Britain? In September 1888, a woman called Catherine Eddowes was murdered by the serial killer known as Jack the Ripper. It is said that he killed at least 4 others, all of them working-class women. Jack the Ripper expert Pete House, who is a guide for Piccadilly tours, explains why he was never caught.
Well, at the time, forensic detection was still very basic, and the Whitechapel area was like a labyrinth full of lots of narrow streets, lanes and alleys. And the streets were very dark, so it was easy for the Ripper to disappear. When I do my tour, I try to give people an idea of what it was like in those days. For example, I give out old photographs of the streets where Jack the Ripper committed his crimes. This is Artillery Passage. As you can see, it's quite atmospheric and mysterious. Imagine how frightening this was in Victorian times for women, especially at night.
Some people say that the police should have caught the Ripper. But unfortunately, when the concept of fingerprinting was offered to the London police in 1886, they refused it.
Over 2,000 people were interrogated by the police in their search for the Ripper. 300 of them were investigated and 80 were detained, but they never found the real killer.
There were even rumours that he was a member of the royal family. Of course, there was a lot of speculation about his identity.
One day, perhaps, someone might find a piece of clothing or perhaps a document that proves his identity, but it seems unlikely. People enjoy these mysteries, and when they're solved, they lose a lot of their fascination.
What is certain is that the mystery of Jack the Ripper has captivated the world ever since he committed those terrible murders. Perhaps we all need these myths and mysteries because they add drama to our lives.
We don't actually want to understand everything. If everything was easy to explain, the world would be a much less interesting place.
So after all this time, it seems very likely that the identity of Jack the Ripper and the mystery of his crimes will never be solved, which is exactly the way we want it to be.
The police interrogated 2,000 people and they still didn't find the Ripper.
Amazing, isn't it? I imagine we'll never know his identity.
Or her identity.
Yes, it's funny how everyone loves a bit of mystery and drama.
That's very true. Right, let's check the answer to our question. What were the rumours about Jack the Ripper's identity?
Let's watch it again.
There were even rumours that he was a member of the royal family.
So, here's the answer. There were rumours that he was a member of the royal family.
Well, that's an incredible theory, isn't it?
I don't believe it.
Well, anyway, I'm glad not all of our legendary figures are horrible like Jack the Ripper.
No, take Robin Hood. He was a bit different. He robbed the rich to give to the poor.
Right. OK, it's time to find out about legends, myths and heroes in other countries. We asked this question. Tell us briefly about a national legend, hero or mythical figure from your country. Let's see what people said.
A legend in England would be Jack Frost. When you wake up in the morning and everything is white, the grass and the trees, parents tell their children that Jack Frost has been.
We tell our children about the cannibal general Te Raupraha. If the children aren't good, Te Raupraha's coming to eat them.
I would say Dr. Martin Luther King, who was the leader of the civil rights movement in the 60s.
One national hero or the legend, it would be Mahatma Gandhiji, who's introduced the path of non-violence to the whole world.
Nelson Mandela, a man who broke the shackles that were chaining South Africa down and ultimately changed the country for the better.
I think the most famous person from Scotland, hero-wise, is William Wallace, and he was made even more famous by the film Braveheart, where he fought for freedom and independence for Scotland.
I'm surprised the woman from Scotland didn't mention one of the most famous Scottish legends, the Loch Ness Monster. Maybe that's because it exists.
She mentioned a real person, William Wallace. Yes, the poor man was executed by the English.
And since that day, people say that Ardrossan Castle in Scotland is haunted by his ghost.
Really? But you don't believe in ghosts, do you?
Of course I do. And I'm not the only one, as we'll see when Nigel goes to Canterbury in this episode of That's Britain. Canterbury is a lovely cathedral city in the southeast of England. While you watch, look for the answer to this. What was the use of the ducking stool?
Let's see.
Hello, I'm in the historic city of Canterbury. This is the gateway to its most famous building, the cathedral. It's the seat of the Archbishop of Canterbury, the head of the Church of England. There are many myths and legends associated with this area. So today we're going to join a ghost walk. The guide is John Hipsley, a well-known ghost hunter.
The cathedral has many ghosts within it.
So the cathedral is famous for its ghost stories, but what else is it well known for?
Canterbury as a city is famous for the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. He wrote a book called The Canterbury Tales in 1387 about pilgrims travelling from London to Canterbury to see the shrine of St Thomas Becket, who died in that cathedral on December the 29th, 1170. But we really should get a move on now because there's still plenty to see in the city.
The cathedral isn't the only place that has ghost stories. This pretty cottage is 800 or 900 years old. It was a home for old and poor priests, and people say that the ghost of one of them is often seen at this window. But who was he, and why does he look out of the window? Nobody knows. So, can I ask you, do you actually believe in ghosts?
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, even the other day, I was walking down into my friend's cellar and I felt something cold brush through me.
And can I ask, why have you come on a ghost walk today?
Well, I've heard that Kent is meant to be one of the most haunted places in Britain, so I just had to come down to find out more.
Brilliant. Well, I hope you've learned plenty. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
This beautiful building is the old weaver's house. And that is the ducking stool, which was used to test if a woman was a witch. She was held under the water for several minutes. If she didn't drown, then they knew she was a witch. If she did drown, then she was innocent. A bit late by then. So, Canterbury certainly is an interesting place for myths and legends, but that's all we've got time for. Well, that was the last part of our trip round southeast England. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, my friend Elizabeth will be taking you round the southwest of England. Goodbye.
So, have you ever seen a ghost, Ashley?
Yes. Once upon a time, I was staying in a hotel which was famous for being haunted. There was a terrible storm. I couldn't get to sleep. Suddenly, I heard a cry. Ah! I opened my eyes and saw a figure all in white, holding its head under its arm.
Oh, and then what happened?
The head started whistling, like this. And then the ghost disappeared.
You don't expect me to believe that, do you?
It's true.
Oh, yeah, of course it is. Anyway, let's check the answer to the question. What was the use of the ducking stool?
This beautiful building is the old weaver's house. And that is the ducking stool, which was used to test if a woman was a witch.
So the answer is the ducking stool was used to test if a woman was a witch.
Apparently, the ducking stool was also used for women who criticised their husbands too much.
I'm sure they had very good reasons for doing that.
Maybe. Well, that's the end of today's programme. We'll see you soon for That's English. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.